Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be another Manifestation Wednesday video. I decided I am going to be doing an updated lessons that I learned in my life that just completely shifted the way that I think about life, the way I view life. Monumental lesson that I learned that somehow it just clicked in my head that I think everyone should hear once in their life. So if you guys want to start with the first video, I would click on that one up on the screen. I don't know where I'm pointing. It's one of these corners here. It will pop on the screen and you guys can watch that one first and come back to this one for an updated one. The first lesson that I thought was a monumental change in my life when I learned it was accepting ignorance is the start of knowledge and wisdom. The exact definition of ignorance is lack of knowledge or information. And when you accept ignorance, that you don't understand every single thing in life, that's the start of when you learn things in life. The more that you are open and understanding that you know nothing right now and you can always be learning more is the door that leads you to understanding more things and learning new things in life. The idea of admitting you don't have all the answers, that's where I think religion flaws. Accept your own lack of knowing to dive deep into concepts and ideas that you otherwise would have never came across. Question everything. Look at life with a beginner's mind. And then this is a quote that I found. It's by Richard Saul Wurman. Pay more attention to the question than the answer. Diving more into everything in life and just understanding that everyone knows nothing, and the more we know that, the more we will learn and the less we will know. If you don't accept ignorance, you will halt your growth. So the second lesson is that we are the universe. So this is something that I kind of understood and fully grasped when I read Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. He says the four most common elements in the universe are hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. These are also the four most common elements of life on Earth. We do not simply live in the universe lives within us. We are literally particles of, stardust that is out there that somehow created a human. We are all made of the same four common elements. Like, we are all one, and without those common elements we wouldn't be here. So just understanding how we fit into the realm of everything. This may be a little bit ego softening, but it's like people think that their world is like the end all be all because we see it from our perspective of the world. So we think our life is like the world, and that's not the case. We are one little bit of little stardust and elements combusted into one, and we are really nothing. Like, we are all the universe. Like, when I think of the universe, I think of everything. I read something literally yesterday and it was like,
this book is not merely this book, it is the sun as well. After all, if not for the sun, trees would not grow to produce the pulp to make the paper. And we cannot forget Ty Sloan, who invented paper, or Joanne Gutenberg, who found a way to apply movable type to a printing press, or the teams of people who invented and programmed our computer, or the people who taught their teachers. And intermixed with the trees and the sun and creative human minds are other things. We cannot ignore language, time, soil, plants, animals, emotions, or thoughts. We cannot forget the rain or even the stars or the galaxy of stars. Indeed, there is nothing we can point to or even imagine that does not find its way into this book either by thought or material. So what is what we call book? Steve Hagen.
Every single thing is somehow intertwined together and it's all one big thing. I think a lot of spiritual people say like we are one. I think that's basically what it means. Another quote that I came across, there's as many atoms in a single molecule of your DNA as there are stars in the typical galaxy. We are each of us a little universe. And then this one's by Alan Watts. Through our eyes, the universe is perceiving itself. Through our ears, the universe listens to its harmonies. We are witnesses through which the universe becomes conscious of its glory, of its magnificence. That is like mind-blowing. Like, think about it like that. Like, we are experiencing life through our five senses, correct? We are the universe and we are experiencing us through us. Like, what? The universe becomes conscious of its glory and we are the one witnessing it. Like, but we are the universe. So the universe is witnessing its glory. That's crazy. And then Garth Stein said, you are not you. You are everything and everything is you. Again, just like So the third thing is how temporary life is and how much faster it changes every single day. Again, I read this in a book, how we always want to pause time. When we think of a situation, we think of it as like a captured moment. We want to pause life and keep it steady, but that's not how life is. Every single day, everything is changing. Our thoughts change, our minds change, our environment changes, the people around us change, like everything is changing, and we get nostalgic sometimes and we want to just like put life on pause because we like it so much. This is something that I kind of came across at the end of reading Sapiens. Every book that I mentioned, by the way, I'll link it down below for you guys. After reading the whole book and all of the history of human life, I kind of wrote this down because it just clicked for me. Enjoy the moment that you're in now, because it will all be a part of history one day that people more intelligent and super than we can ever imagine will be mesmerized by. One day people will be studying us. People will be studying our part in history. Someday people won't even have evidence of our part in history, and they're going to be studying what they think was going on right now. Like how we do with dinosaurs, you know? Everything lacks permanence. Thoughts, emotions, words, people. The only constant in life is change. Coming to grasp with this has gotten me through difficult times, and knowing that you just have to accept it, and this is all part of your journey, and everything like is just is. Like, you can't sit there and want to alter your reality because you're not liking the way that you're perceiving it. And if something bad goes on, that's just okay. Like, you know, at the end of the day that like you're gonna get through it, and this hard time is a temporary hard time, just like any good time is a temporary good time. So just be in the moment and experience it, because one day you'll be looking at it through your future self, remembering and getting almost nostalgic over the present moment that you're living right now, but you're not even being present while you're experiencing it, because you're thinking about what ifs, what it should be, what it could be, instead of just being. So the fourth one is attention is a choice. We have an average of 70,000 thoughts a day, a million different sounds, non-stop physical sensations, but you only notice when you choose to place attention on them. Example: you're listening to this video, you might not hear the plane overhead or the warmth of your breath on your upper lip, the stillness, but now you do. You are the person who creates your reality by putting attention to what you are experiencing in the moment. And that's kind of like what I think about when people are like grumpy or angry or getting like road rage. I've said this so many times, but everyone can experience the same exact moment and get two different experiences from the exact same situation, but it's all based on what you place your attention on. Are you placing your attention on how long the line is at Starbucks and how in a rush you have to be in a meeting and the girl is being obnoxious behind the counter? Or are you experiencing, wow, I'm so blessed I can have Starbucks. They have the new like Christmas flavors. What should I get? Like, I'm gonna be here long, there's a line, but you know, I can't really do anything about it and everything's gonna work out fine. Like, there's just different perspectives, and it's what you choose to place your attention on. They say you choose happiness, but you also choose where you want to put your attention. If you're ever in a moment where you feel yourself getting heated or getting uncomfortable or just getting upset, what are you placing your attention on? And try challenging that and place your attention elsewhere, which is something that gratitude is really great for. That's something that will just instantly shift your mood, because you're placing your attention on gratitude rather than something that you're upset about or being ungrateful for. Garth Stein says, what's in your mind is like a virus and cannot survive without a willing host. For example, if you have a thought or something that goes on in your mind and you don't want it to be there, you are allowing it to be there, because imagine it being a virus and you're sitting there, you're the host, feeding it by placing attention on it and thinking about it and creating more thoughts stemming from that initial thought that you don't like in your mind, you know? So change it, don't feed it, and eventually it will go away. If you can imagine an end result and move with it, you can have it, because you're placing attention on it, you're feeding it, and eventually stemming things from that initial thought and doing things and learning things, and eventually that little thought about wanting to get something in your life will be in your life because you fed it the attention that you're going to give it. The fifth one is to take action, and I've said this so many times. This is one of the most important things when it comes to getting the life that you want to live. You're taking the internal intentions that you have in your mind and manifesting them into the real, tangible world. And the more that you take action, the more that your life will align with those internal intentions or goals that you have in your head. It seems like such a simple concept, but a lot of people don't have the motivation to just go and take action. But you have to take action in order to get motivated, because the more more you learn, the more you accomplish, the more you master it, and the more you will align with it. The sixth lesson that I learned could be a kind of harsh one, but it is that you won't get it unless you truly want it. A lot of people think that they want something, but deep down they really don't. If you really truly want something in life, you will find a way to make it happen. If you need to pay your rent on time and you don't have money, you will find a way to find money somehow, whether that's asking people for it, working extra shifts, picking up another job, finding it. Like, you will find some way to get the money to pay your rent if you truly, truly want it. You might not get it in the proper ways, you might get it in a proper way. It doesn't matter. You will get the money because you truly, truly want it. And that's a lot of the times people will say that they have these goals and stuff, but then they don't take action and they don't align with it, and they kind of just put it on the back burner. They don't pay attention to it, and they won't get it because they don't truly want it. Because if you really wanted it, you would work day in and day out to try to figure out how to get that in your life. Garth Stein again said, the physicality of our world is only a boundary if your will is weak. The seventh lesson is, that which around me does not affect my mood. My mood affects that which is around me. So your mood is the first and foremost thing that affects your outside world. Whereas a lot of people think that the outside world, the external world, is what changes your mood and shifts your emotions, and therefore you're just like not a happy person. That's not the case. You're not a happy person because internally you're not a happy person. You're not a happy person because of how you are seeing your physical world. You can literally have the worst scenario going on in your life right now, and if someone else were in that position, they would see it completely differently. Not to say that they wouldn't feel certain things that you're feeling, and it's okay to feel like that, but they would somehow make it a way to grow from it, learn from it, experience it, even sometimes be happy. And it all starts from your mood. When your mood shifts, you will see life differently. What we view isn't the real thing, it's our perspective of what's going on based on our past, thoughts, and experiences. Everyone is different. We are viewing a facsimile, a distorted world. Thought only gives the world an appearance of order to anyone weak enough to be conceived by its show. This was actually in the first page of a Stephen King book, and that was a quote by Colin Wilson. I opened the Stephen King book and I was like, that's the first thing I got from it. I was like, holy cow. Listen to that again. Thought only gives the world an appearance of order to anyone weak enough to be convinced by its show. Reality is not what your eyes show your mind, but what your mind creates for your eyes to see. That's by Mike Dooley. The eighth lesson, alone versus being lonely. And this is something that I have struggled with, because I sometimes get very lonely. But again, that is a mindset. There is a difference between being alone and lonely. Being alone is in the world, and being lonely is in your mind. Being alone creates the opportunity to make conscious, unconditioned choices, truly you. Very true. When you are alone, you don't have any sort of filter that you put on yourself. You are your true, most authentic self because you are alone. No one's looking at you. You don't have any judgment from other people or yourself of how you should or shouldn't be acting. When you're alone, you are unconditionally you. And when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, damn, I kind of like being alone. Like, this is nice. I don't have any sort of filter that I have to abide by. It's just me. Garth Stein, again, this is all from Garth Stein, a lot of these quotes, and it's from the book The Art of Racing in the Rain. I told you guys when I read that book, I like wrote so much shit down. It was like insane. It was like one quote after the other, and I was just like, holy cow. He says, the ego is the existence of a separate entity. Kind of understood the ego and what the ego is, but I didn't understand it in the sense of like it's separate from us. It's like a totally different person or human than what we truly are. Like, we are spiritual beings. When we first come into the world, we are the most pure human possible because we don't have people around us telling us what we should or shouldn't be, who we are, who we aren't, religion, favorite football games, names, class, race. We are just a being, and that's our true, most authentic self. And when you have your ego, you know, you experience life, you have a culture, you have people around you telling you what you are and what you're not, you have yourself, you have the news, the media, everything is just kind of conditioning you to morph into this person per se, but it's really an ego. And the ego is I. There is no I, that's the ego. When you think of it as a separate entity from yourself, you can see it differently and take care of it differently. The most common ego identifications have to do with possessions, the work you do, social status and recognition, knowledge and education, physical appearance, special abilities, relationships, person and family history, belief systems, and often nationalistic, racial, religious, and other collective identifications. None of these is you. So the 10th lesson, we are all on our own individual path. No one should be on anyone else's path. We should be on our own path. And that's by Ellen. I watched Ellen stand up and she said that at the end, and I was like, that's a great way to explain it, because a lot of the times people feel like they're falling behind, they're not, you know, where they should be in life, but it's like you are on your own unique path. Don't compare yours to others, because yours is going to be completely different. If yours was supposed to be the exact same, it would be. So when you feel like you've fallen apart or you're comparing yourself to other people, just know this is your journey, no one else's. The 11th lesson is listen more than you speak. This is from, again, The Art of Racing in the Rain. We interpret the other person's thought process by interpreting and putting ourselves and thoughts into the story. And then we deflect the conversation with a comment of our own. We change the direction of another's conversation and we steal their stories. If you think about it, when someone's literally explaining something, you kind of butt in and put your little say in it, but you're completely veering their initial story of what they were trying to tell you. And not that that's a bad thing, but it's sometimes like good to just step back and be quiet and just take in the moment by listening to everything that they're saying and what they're trying to tell you. Something else that kind of goes with this a little bit is when someone tells you something about someone else, you just learn more about the person who told you it. You didn't learn anything about the initial person because that person wasn't there. You learned about the person who spoke it because they were there, and you learn from their character of what they're saying about the person, but you can't ever take what anyone else is saying about someone that you've never met or that you haven't experienced with them, because now you have this framed idea of what this person is, but you never experienced them. You experience it through someone else's perspective of who they were. So not only listen to the verbal words, but listen to who the person is trying to be with you and trying to portray to you. The 12th lesson is you are the creator of your story. You can change it at any time. This is by Warren Bennis. I believe in self-invention. To be authentic is to literally be your own author, to discover your native energies and desires and finding your way of acting on them. You have the power to do anything that you want. If you want to change your life completely, change it. There's no one stopping you but you. You can do it. And like, change your life, but you have to change it. You can't just expect life to change by sitting there complaining, worrying, planning, organizing, and getting prepared for it. You have to go do it, you know? Like, you are the creator. You create your whole life, and think of it as like a game. It's fun, you know? We're not here for long, and just experience all the good, all the bad, and all the craziness of life, and look at it like a game. Like, I've recently done that, and it's honestly made it so fun. The 13th lesson is majority of the time offense is taken, not given. This is something my cousin actually told me in Thanksgiving. Something happened during Thanksgiving that I kind of just like took offense to, and when he said that, it kind of just clicked, and I was like, that's so true. A lot of the times people get offended, especially nowadays. Everyone is so offended by what everyone else is doing or thinking or saying, and it's like, I don't think they initially had the intention to offend you. If that was the case, I think sometimes people have intentions of offending you. But a lot of the times when people do things or say things, they are not trying to offend you. You're the one taking offense, and they don't intend to do that. So look at yourself and see what the hell is going on with your mindset if you're getting so offended by other people's actions. So the 14th is something that a subscriber told me. I forgot who said it. If you said it and you're listening, let me know so I can quote you. They said, search for the relevance of the present trouble you're facing. This is really good if you're ever having a hard time with life. Why are you having this? What can you take from it? For the 15th one, everyone has their own story. This is again something I experienced on Thanksgiving because I know a lot about a lot of different people from my family. My family is huge on my mom's side. And I was sitting there one day in the cabin, and I was just like looking at every single person and like going through what I have been told about who they are, what they come from, their experiences in life, like all their hardships. And I was going through each person, and I just like looked at them completely differently. Like, it was so weird. It was like this moment I had, and I will never forget it. And like seeing them for like that, and seeing who they've become and their own little personalized world of what they've gone through is like so unique and different. And think about it, like everyone has that. There's a great definition of Sonder. The realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own, populated with their own ambitions, friends, routines, worries, and inherited craziness. An epic story that continues invisibly around you. You can appreciate them and understand where they're coming from even if they act not in accordance to what you think they should be acting like. So the 16th lesson is don't try to change people. They are messengers telling you who you are. Revalue yourself and they will confirm the change. The beauty you see in me is a reflection of you. Just like if you see something negative in me, I believe that's a negative reflection on you. When you see people as bad or not as good as you or not up to par as you and doing things that you don't approve of, that's a reflection on who you are. How you're being judgmental, how you're being controlling, how you're comparing, how you're putting yourself higher than other people. And when you look at everyone, again, it kind of like correlates back to the last one. It's like everyone has their own story. Not that you're accepting their behavior, but you're understanding of their behavior and you see them for who they are, not based on their behavior that they're putting out there. I think it's really important to do that when you're having trouble with different people in your life and trying to change them to be like how you think they should be. So the 17th lesson is you can choose to appreciate the moment now or when it's already come and gone. This is again something that I've understood a lot more this year and becoming more present. Like I always hear be present, but this is the reason why to become present, because we again go into the future and we get nostalgic over our lives and we look at it like, oh, I remember the days back when I did this and I remember when I used to do this. And it's like a lot of the times if you go back to that moment, you were completely out of thought. You were thinking about what should I do tomorrow? How am I going to reach my goals? Or oh man, you know, something in the past that I regret, and you're not presently aware. And instead of looking at the moment that you value and cherish in your life, in the future self, looking back in a nostalgic manner, just be, so that you remember that moment and being present and you're appreciating it when it's happening rather than when it's already come and gone. The 18th lesson, what if everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked for? Cool, right? Trust, because if you got it now, you'd lose it and wouldn't appreciate it. That's interesting. If you got what you wanted for right now, and somehow you lose it or you don't appreciate it or you take it for granted, everything that you're going through right now is preparing you for when you do get that to be able to keep it and hold on to it and get what you need from it. Kind of the same thing if you're going through hard times and it's like you got everything that you wanted right now. Would you truly appreciate it? No, because you never went through the hard times. The fact that you're going through all of these hard times is a sign that when you do get it, you're not going to take it for granted. You're going to appreciate it so much. You're going to live every day loving your life. And if you just got it like that without any problems, that would not be the case. The 19th is to change your mindset. And these are just like little word sayings that I've come across. Instead of saying I have to go work out, it's like I get to work out. I have the luxury of having the time to work out right now. The gym, outside, and this beautiful weather that I have to work out in. Like, your workout is a luxury and you should look at it as like, I get to do this rather than I have to do this. I have to go to work. Well, I get to go to work. I get to get a paycheck. I get to have coworkers. I get to have my own little cubicle that I can decorate that a lot of people don't get. And so instead of complaining about things in your life like that, change it from I have to do it to I get to do it. And your mindset will shift. Another word saying that you can say is, instead of saying sorry all the time, like I'm such a people pleaser. I'm totally aware of that. Saying, I'm so sorry for being late. You can say, thank you so much for being patient. Just little words like that sometimes not only will change your mindset, but the people around you's mindset as well. The 20th lesson is, so far, it's not really a lesson, but something that I want to keep in mind throughout my whole life. So far, you've survived 100% of your worst days. You're doing great. Nothing else to say there. And then I'm going to sneak a little 21st lesson in here if you guys stuck to the end. Thanks for watching. The 21st lesson is enlightenment. Enlightenment is seeing things as they are rather than what we wish them or believe them to be. You are not lacking a thing. You only need to stop blocking or interpreting your vision. That's by Steve Hagen. You have everything. Dissatisfaction arises from within us. It arises out of our own ignorance, out of our blindness to what our situation actually is, out of wanting reality to be something other than what it is. Again, no explanation there. So that's gonna be it for this video. I know it was a long one. If you guys want to watch the first 20 lessons that I did, I'll leave it also linked in the description box. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you stuck all the way to the end, thank you for watching. I love you guys honestly so much. I would never have learned these lessons if you guys hadn't asked me questions about spirituality and geared me towards like certain books that I learned these lessons from. A subscriber told me one of these lessons, so thank you for everything. I hope you guys all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you guys in Friday's video. Bye guys.